Welcome to LaQuita's Toolbox, where we deliver relevant content in the form of tools that empower entrepreneurs to elevate personally and professionally. Good is only good until greater is envisioned. You know there's another level in you. Here we discuss the tools to get you there. Lean in as LaQuita and her guests present you with strategies and insight for unlocking your full potential to realize your boldest dream.
Welcome back to another amazing episode of LaQuita's Toolbox. I am your host, LaQuita Mondley, and guys, it is going to be a fantastic episode today. So if this is your first time tuning into LaQuita's Toolbox, welcome to the family. Get something to write with and something to write on, because you do not want to miss the tools that will be released on today. We have some amazing guests in the studio with us, Miss Shinia Lambert and Miss Ebony Todd, and they are the creators, founders, visionaries of Capital Moms. So you might be saying, LaQuita, what is Capital Moms? Hold on tight. You're going to find out all about it. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. Get this out to as many people as possible. We all know and love someone that you will find out by definition is a capital mom, and she needs to be equipped with the information that these lovely ladies are going to release on today. But without further ado, welcome to the show, Miss Shinia and Ebony. How are you ladies doing?
Well, we're doing good.
Indeed. Thank you so much for having us.
Wonderful. Listen, let me start with Miss Shinia. Tell the audience a bit more about who you are and what you do.
Yes, so first, please call me Shy. Those that are meeting me for the first time, please feel free to refer to me that as well. And Dr. Monley, you know that you have the license to call me whatever you like, but especially Shy. So I'm a mom, first and foremost, and I think my business partner, Ebony, would agree that that is our highest calling and duty, but we also realize that we're more than just moms. So we're attorneys and serial entrepreneurs. We're both speakers, and I'm a podcaster, Bible study teacher, transformative content creator, a little bit of everything. But we really are women who have a heart for pursuing our own dreams and seeing other women do so as well, and not seeing motherhood as a tether that keeps us kind of bound, but instead something that we can actually use and find to be one of our greatest resources, even in entrepreneurship.
Wow, that's a beautiful thing. Now go ahead and drop that plug about your podcast, because if y'all haven't heard it, you need to listen to it. I'm just saying, it is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. So my podcast is called Rooted: Real People, Real Issues, Real Growth. And you can find it on Anchor, Spotify, or Apple. You can follow me on Instagram at Shinia_Lambert. I do try to post a new episode every Wednesday at 6 p.m. But from the way things are trending, it looks like a lot of new readers and listeners are coming on. And so they're trying to get caught up. So I might give everybody a little break, let people get caught up this week, and then post a new episode next week. But for sure, please do follow me, like, share, subscribe, get the word out to anyone who you know may be interested in some Christian growth and some real practical application.
Awesome. That's definitely what you will find. She's an amazing Bible study teacher, and you won't, like, sometimes we get on apps, Christian growth apps or YouTube, and you're like trying to prop your eyelids open with a toothpick because, I want to honor the word, but this person is dry. That is not what you shall find. If you're not following her, you need to follow her, because she will take it and make it more than interesting. And you're like, oh man, the episode's over already. Man.
Thank you.
Yes. Miss Ebony, come on and jump in and let the people know who you are, wonderful woman of God.
Hey, you know what? I'm so glad that you mentioned being of God, because that is also a priority of Shy and I. We identify as Christians, and as attorneys, sometimes that feels counterintuitive because it's less about faith in the legal world. It's more about what does the law say? And so we have to, on a regular basis, stand up to the legal world with our faith. we try to present our faith as the best part of us, the best part of us. Yeah. I think I posted that recently. Like, this is the best quality of myself, is being a believer. So at any rate, as a believer, I have been very, very blessed, I think, throughout my life to do a lot of things. And one of my biggest blessings has been able to connect with Shinia and Shai and I starting to be a law firm together. So I am very blessed to be her law partner. I'm very blessed to be a wife. I'm very blessed to be a mother of 3, 11-year-old, 5-year-old. He'll be 6 on next Friday, and a 1-year-old daughter. And I am also very blessed to be appointed as the Associate Municipal Court Judge of Nolanville. I am very blessed to be a part of several different organizations, including serving on boards and serving as a public member of the Texas Medical Board as well, appointed by the governor. So I have a lot of irons in the fire at any given time. And that's why if you follow me on Instagram, the Ebony Esq, you'll see that my bio says professional juggler. And the reason why I put that is because I literally every single day am just juggling a lot of things like most mothers, especially as professional mothers. And I think that is one of the reasons why Capital Moms was sparked.
Listen, you guys, if you're listening, I know you're listening. It's a podcast. And there's been some great gems dropped even there as it relates to what it means to be a capital mom. And that, as both Ebony and Shai have said, being a mom it's not a weight. It's not something that will slow you down or prevent you from accomplishing any of the things that God has called you to do. But indeed, it does enhance your experience as an entrepreneur. Because I'll tell you what, shifting from being a stay-at-home mom to working a 9-to-5 in the government sector to being an entrepreneur, the government worker and the entrepreneur is a cakewalk compared to managing a house 24/7, 365 with 4 or 5 little people running around. And don't let them invite a friend. Then you got the park inside your house. Like, why are these people here, Jesus? And why won't they go home?
Exactly.
So true.
So ladies, listen, and fellas, being a mom is a blessing, but it does not have to stop you from doing the things that God has called you to do in your community. Whether it's volunteer work, on your job, whether you are in corporate America or in your entrepreneurial journey, or a little bit of all of that. And that's something that we're going to talk more about with Shai and with Ebony, and how Capital Moms came to be. But before we do that, let me take a moment to thank our sponsors at Covenant Press. Covenant Press is a faith-based Christian apparel and accessory shop where we as believers can shop for clothing and accessories that allow us to wear the message of the love of Jesus Christ. Go out to www.covenant-press.com. Again, that's www.covenant-press.com. Shop until you drop, and make sure you pay attention to those pop-ups, because when you see the pop-ups, grab that code that you see, place it in the appropriate place at the checkout to receive your discounts and savings for being a shopper at Covenant Press. So listen, you guys, talk to me about Capital Moms. Let the listeners know, how did that come up? Like, what sparked the desire to create Capital Moms?
I'm going to let Ebony
start.
Okay. Start with this one.
Well, she does a good job tag teaming me on this. So I'll start, but I definitely want Shai's parts in here because she has definitely elevated the vision. So the initial vision came about because I was actually consulting with Shai about a friend of mine who is a single mother. And she, the first time, Shai, was I consulting you about, yes, it was about the guardianship, right? Yes. That was the first. Okay, so the first incident is my friend wants me to be guardian of her children in the event of her death, which is wise to have a plan. You may die, who will take care of your children? And all of us don't necessarily want our parents to have the burden, quote unquote, to take care of children when they are getting older, or they may see things differently from how we see things and raise our children differently. So it makes sense for us to try to put a plan in place that's outside of our parents. However, Shai quickly reminded me, friend, said children have a father and said father has rights. And I was like, oh, that guy. So initially my response is like, what do you mean he has rights and he can have my children? Those are my godchildren. And if I want to take care of them, by golly, I will. And so, that initially made me upset. And it was like, I know this. I'm a whole attorney, but I don't practice family law. So I want to put that out there. Generally, I do not practice family law. So, okay. Anyway, the point is, I was like, oh my God, like, I didn't know this. Of course, there's probably several women who don't even realize that this is a thing. So that was the first, in my mind, right? And put a pin in it. Shai and I talk again about my friend's situation, but this time I came with an idea. I'm like, Shai, my friend says that she has property that she wants to give to her children in the event of her death. And I'm like, friend, you can't give homes to minors. If you die right now, you wouldn't give the home to the minor. You would probably put the home in trust. The trustee could sell the home to take care of the children. It would be up to the trustee, but you can't like physically, here's a home, child. Like, that's not a thing. So I'm talking to Shai about this and I'm like, friend, there's so much information that mothers, especially professional mothers who are entrepreneurs, who are, bootstrapping it, they need to know what happens to my children? What happens to my property?
Yes.
And so that was kind of how we birthed it. And Shai immediately, I could go on for days. I know I can't do that. I'm not allowed to. But I could go on for days because Shai and I originally came together knowing that we wanted to transition from working full-time as attorneys. And we also knew that we both wanted to be authors. So those were two facts that went into play, I believe. And Shai, you definitely, I'm about to tag you, friend, can say your part on this. But I think that kind of went into our decision. Like, we should probably look into this a little bit more in depth. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should write a book. Maybe we should make a business out of this. Like, what should we do next? Shai, I'm tagging you, friend. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that was actually the spark that got us thinking about putting something into context. Because again, we knew we wanted to be authors. We knew that we wanted to joint write a book together. But this created a subject matter that really had us thinking, wow, and not in an arrogant way, but like, we feel like we're pretty knowledgeable. We're educated professional women. And yet these are not things that we've thought about in great detail. There has to be other women who are either already entrepreneurs or desire to be entrepreneurs who need this information. And so then it kind of became almost like a passion project. Like, what are things that women need to know that they don't know? And how can we get moms especially to overcome this mindset that because they are mothers, whether they're single mothers or married, that they can't also pursue their entrepreneurial dreams? Because we know that culture kind of teaches this thing that you have to be this or that. You're either a really great mom at home or you're, cutthroat in the corporate marketplace. And so we were like, no, we reject that notion. We believe that you can be both. And especially as believers, we believe God can equip you to be both. And then many mothers were shortchanging themselves by trying to pick and finding that they weren't as joyful. I mean, think about it. No matter how much you love your kids, if God has given you a passion or a giftedness and a means to express that in the entrepreneurial workspace, you're never going to really be satisfied by just being at home, right?
That's real.
And it's not a judgment on anyone. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom and have no entrepreneurial pursuits, God bless you. That's wonderful. I want you to do what you feel called to do. If you feel 100%
God bless you,
called,
indeed.
Yeah, to be in the marketplace and you don't desire to have children, God bless you. Pursue that. But if you are a woman who desires to have both, we wanted moms to know it's possible and you can do that.
Not only is it possible, friend, we wanted them to know that we will support them in the quest.
Yes.
That's why we built a community, right? So yes, I think what Shai said is spot on. It's like, we need you to see that it is being done. You're not alone, and you don't have to do it alone. And why would you do it alone, even if you could? And I think it's important for us to also bring up, Dr. Monley, that we are, what sets our community apart is the faith biblical foundation that we have. And so that goes into how we came up with the name Capital Moms. Is it okay for us to go into that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Capital Moms, you know, a part of it was going to be an acronym, and still kind of in our hearts is an acronym, but it was going to be two moms, MOM, MOM. I won't go into the acronym because I always screw it up. However, I will say that that's how we came to, there's two moms. It's an acronym. They're capitalized. How about instead we say Capital Moms? And so at first, it was going to be just capital MOM, and then I was being extra, and Shai was smart, and she was like, I don't think, am I wrong, Shai? I feel like you were the one that was like, I feel like we should probably do something a little bit different.
Yeah, I felt like we were going to have to do a lot of explaining, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, so she thought of the idea. How about instead, if I remember correctly, I feel like it was her idea to just say Capital Moms as opposed to it being the capital MOM. At any rate, what we decided instead of doing the acronym is that Capital Moms means that you're not just a mom, MOM, lowercase. You're a capital M mom, as God is not a lowercase g, he is a capital G, right? And so not only do we have that capital essence of lowercase capital, but also a capital mom is about her God, her family, and her business. So she has the innate ability to prioritize. And we want to set apart the mompreneurs that aren't just mothers and entrepreneurs. One step further, we'll say, as opposed to like it's better. It's just one step further, is that you are a mother, you are an entrepreneur, and you are a believer. So because we have that believer, that Christian, the trifold of it, we just feel like Capital Moms, making it about the three priorities, is in essence everything that we would want us to be. And Shai and I will never act like, we're Capital Moms, like the best mothers and best entrepreneurs. But what we know is that we are making every effort. We are diligently pursuing God, pursuing being the best mothers we can be, and pursuing being the best entrepreneurs and servants of our community as we can be as well.
Definitely, you guys are definitely doing that. And even as you were explaining how it came to be, what really comes to mind is, and it's probably one of my personal pet peeves, within the body of Christ, we love to tell women to be the Proverb 30 woman, but yet not fully realizing the revelation of who she is and what she did. She wasn't just this little submissive,
she was a boss.
Cotton ball. Yes, she was. Like, she wasn't this just little submissive person sitting in the corner. She was
very
a
talented
capital
too.
boss. Come on now. She was a real estate investor. Come on now. And she didn't get permission.
She was a chef. She was a manager.
Come on. She got up early, and she didn't just feed her household, but she fed her servants. Like, why I'm feeding you, but glory to God. Okay. She did all of those things. She went out and about. Her children called her blessed. The people in the city gates praised her, not her, but her husband, because of the things that she did. She saw the field. She saw what it was good for. She purchased it. She went ahead and turned it into a vineyard. That means she was not just an entrepreneur, but then she brought jobs to the community because she had to hire the people to run that vineyard. I mean, sis was a boss.
She was a bad woman.
She was. Come on now. And that whole getting up early to give herself to the Lord as her first priority of the day. And so when you were explaining about what a capital mom is, that's what I saw. Like that was a vision of the Proverb 31 woman, who she really is. Like I believe sometimes very erroneously in church, women are taught to be the Proverb 31 woman from a place of, just be somewhere, take care of your house and cooking. No, that ain't what she did. She had servants. She took care of her house, but she could cook and she could clean. And she was wealthy because the items that she was using in that scripture.
Right.
Come on now.
Right.
It cost a lot of money, not a little bit. She didn't rub 2 pence together to get that.
For sure.
So, that's a beautiful thing. And definitely as women of God, we don't have to choose. When you were saying this or that, I thought about something that Darius Daniel said. It doesn't have to be this or that.
Right.
It's this and that. This is who God created me to be. I'm not diminishing my role as a mother, but learning how to be a manager in my house definitely helped me to achieve a level of success in my corporate career that helped me to achieve a level of success in my entrepreneurial journey. So we're not, that you're not saying that choosing one or the other is wrong. Be great at whatever one that you choose. But if you should choose to be an entrepreneur, there is a community of faith-based Christian women bosses that have your back and a whole manual so that you won't feel like I'm having to, what the kids say, get this out the mud. I'm still trying to figure out what all that means. But, you don't have to do this by yourself.
You don't have to struggle.
Yeah.
You don't have to struggle. And I know that it can be daunting because right now the market is saturated, right? With people who are business coaches, life coaches, all these things. And everyone has something of value to add. Again, what we feel like sets our book apart and our community apart is the kind of triune aspect, the legal aspect. You're not going to find a resource out there that's going to break these legal concepts down in ways that you can understand where you've not had to pay an attorney, right, to break these things down for you. It's not intended to be legal advice, but instead to be a landing space, a place for you to get enough context so that you can ask the right questions and understand kind of what you're navigating. Everyone's promoting entrepreneurship right now, but not telling people how to do it. And that's, again, why we wanted to add that legal aspect. The practical part, right? We talked about this, whether it's a podcast, whether it's whatever it is. You can't just consume information, right? Consuming information with no intention of application is a waste of your time, right? Call it leisure, but don't call it investing in yourself, right? It's a waste of time if you're not applying what it is that you're learning. So we wanted to add that practical application to not only encourage other women, but to be transparent and show, look, this is how we do it. And like Ebony said, we don't always, it's not 100% in both at all times. There are times where, we wish we could spend some more time with our kids. And then times where we wish we could just devote to business. It's finding that balance and being okay with what that balance looks like for you, not feeling a need to compare yourself to any other mother, to any other entrepreneur, doing what works best for you and your family. And then the spiritual side, right? I think a lot about John Maxwell, right? One of the best businessmen with a spiritual component to ever do it, where he talks very openly about, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. You can read this book and not be a Christian or a believer. And these principles will still work if you work them, right? Because they're true, right? This is how God designed the earth to work. These things will work whether you intentionally submit to God or not. I hope that you do, right? I hope that you build that relationship. But I think that's what makes us a little bit different and again, makes our community different. And so for any woman that's listening to this and thinking like, oh, I'm already a part of this group or already listened to this podcast, I would just encourage you to think about wanting something a little bit different, a little bit richer, and adding to your arsenal, adding to your toolbox, right? By considering capital moms as well.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Shai, because we do make an effort to show how we are set apart because we believe that God has set us apart. He has uniquely qualified Shai and I for a time such as this. And so a lot of the time I feel like we shouldn't even have to prove ourselves because it's evident that we're different, but we are. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way at all. I mean, I feel very blessed to have found another Christian mother to partner with and attorney. to partner with, like unicorn, you know. I was like, thank you, God, when I met Shy. So what Shy and I have, we're essentially offering this like partnership of community to these other women, saying, hey, we love each other and we want to see each other succeed. I love that Shy is doing a podcast. She loves that I have a radio show. We want to see each other excel, even in the separate assignment.
Yes.
That God has for us. And we should get for other women as well. Did I freeze? Well, I think I may have frozen for a second. Did I freeze?
You may have. I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Oh,
keep going.
I just wanted to bring out that you Dr. Molly, you had mentioned about a choice that women have and they can choose. And you had mentioned that from what Shy and I was saying earlier about choosing. I think, Shy, you brought it up, friend, very greatly, that you can choose to be a stay-at-home mom or choose to be an entrepreneur, what have you. And there was one point that I wanted to make very crystal clear, is that we are also advocating for the woman that has that inkling to go ahead and take the step of faith, because you can choose to do something radical and allow God to move greatly in your life. You can choose that. You don't have to say, well, this is what I'm doing right now because I have benefits and because I am taking care of my child. I have a child to take care of, so I have to do it this way. You don't have to do that. And our community can prove that. My friend that it basically initiated this whole Capital Moms movement in my mind is a teacher and a real estate investor and a realtor. And she's doing what she wants to do she's also going to, she's in appraising classes. She's a notary. And she's doing these things because she's about to create an empire, right? But she's doing it while she's a teacher. And if you could be fearful initially, and we understand that. I don't want it to sound like I'm saying jump out on faith and do like Shy did and leave your good paying job with benefits and join me, because that's what she did. I will always praise her for the amount of faith she used to do that. I'm not saying that is everyone's testimony. What I'm saying is that if it is your testimony, you know I'm talking to you right now.
Come on now.
If it's for you, if you are supposed to step out on faith and make that radical decision, you feel it in your spirit. It's giving you chills that I'm saying this right now. If it's not doing that for you, maybe message isn't for you. But I want to speak and advocate to that woman, that mother that may be scared to be an entrepreneur because she's thinking, I cannot provide for my family being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. And we'll be happy to show you how.
Come on now. All that right there will preach. Listen, y'all, if you're riding in the car, pay attention to the road. Don't drive off the road saying glory to God, thank you, Jesus. But you can say it and still keep your eyes open. Just keep your eyes on the road. If you are sitting in your house, go ahead and do your Holy Ghost shout. But most importantly, remember,
and post it online and come on, Dr. Molly.
Yes, come on now. Post it. Listen, it's a podcast. So that's one of the beautiful things about, this current age that we live in. You can hit the rewind button, rewind that thing back, when you settle in your spirit, rewind it back and take yourself some copious notes, because we're going to defeat the spirit of fear every single episode that we get on the Toolbox. If the Toolbox is not designed for anything else, it is to identify every area in our life where fear has tried to come in and settle itself and mask itself as common sense. And I'm just got to do the right thing right now. No, we're going to uproot, tear down, pull down, throw away, cast it back into the dry places from which it comes. We're going to just take fear out. And we're going to activate some faith. You know what I'm saying?
You might save some of this for Sunday. If nobody knows what I'm talking about right now, Dr. Molly is going to be one of our vision doctors at our vision party for entrepreneurs. You all are invited. Dr. Molly, please excuse my shameless plug right now.
Oh, no, go ahead. Plug away.
I want everyone to know what I'm talking about. Dr. Molly's going to give us some nuggets. I know you always give nuggets. So I'm excited for what you're going to give the entrepreneurs in the room that day.
Oh, I definitely am excited because listen, everything that you just spoke about is something that I can probably, I can't speak for everybody. So let me speak for me. It's some things that at particular points in my life that I had to deal with in fear. You know what I'm saying?
And don't we all, especially when we become mothers, it's heightened, right? It's exponentially greater once you become a mother.
Once you become a mother, absolutely. You know, there were times in my life as a young mom. I mean, I'm a young mom now, glory to God.
Yes, you are.
A young grandmother,
Indeed.
you know.
Indeed.
I told these children they better slow down because I'm getting better. I don't know what they doing.
I heard that.
But you know, we have to you make decisions as moms. We make decisions that are in the best interest of our children. Mm-hmm. And we do that, but sometimes we don't do it in a balance. Mm-hmm. Because the decisions that we make that grow us, that elevate us, are the decisions that are in the best interest of our children. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Because
absolutely.
When we step out on faith, and stepping out on faith is just like what Ebony said. It doesn't mean going and make rash decisions without properly planning it through. But stepping out on faith means I'm going to allow myself to even visualize. Mm-hmm. I'm going to allow myself to receive the vision from the Holy Spirit. I'm going to allow myself to write the vision down, make it plain. And then I'm going to allow myself to be obedient to the steps that God has given me to walk this thing out, regardless of what other people are saying, but especially pulling down the negative voices that are speaking to me. Mm-hmm. The areas in my life where the enemy is saying subtly, well, you know, if you take this $50 right here that you want to invest in this course to go to this vision party, you could have put that $50 on the lunch account. So you could have put that $50 back because, you know, springtime is coming and they're going to need new spring uniforms and new spring shoes. Whereas if I spend this $50, I invest this $50 into the vision party, I will receive some clarity and some insight on how to take that information that I've learned and take this next set of $50 that I have for my next paycheck and turn that $50 into $250, and that multiplication process continues to move forward. But
and can I try to get a tax deduction for the original $50?
For the original $50.
That's called a business expense.
Come on now.
That's a business expense.
I'm going to claim it is.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I love that. I love that, Dr. Monley, because I think it's so important. As mothers, we're so used to sacrificing, and we call diminishing ourselves sacrifice. And culture praises that, right? Like, mom, make yourself smaller, right? Mm-hmm. Make yourself smaller. But the thing is that when you invest in yourself, you are investing in your family. You are investing in your children's future.
That's good.
You know, your kids need to see you doing bold, big things. Yes. It's one thing to tell your kid, like, you can be whoever you want to be. But mom, are you? Are you being who it is that you're called to be? Yes, are you diminishing yourself because it feels safe, because it feels easy? And I get it. I'm a single mom. The economy is crazy, right? Y'all know the price of eggs. It's ridiculous now.
It's ridiculous.
Did y'all hear that thing where the people went to jail for bringing the eggs from Mexico? Get them people they free, because these eggs is expensive over here. Come on.
Somebody just wants an omelet. But the thing is, like, it's crazy that in the gender roles that men are praised for the late nights and working hard and sacrificing all and time away from families, right? Because they're the providers. Whereas mothers are like, oh, you want to pursue that dream? Like, but what about your kids? Yeah. Who's going to pick them up from school?
You know, friend, I got a testimony for that, because I'm glad you brought that up, because I remember, and I think I told you this story before. I remember, this is not an entrepreneurship story, but when I joined the military, first of all, when I was in law school, I was in ROTC. So I had already made a commitment to the military for a scholarship in order for me to go to law school. Well, James and I were already married. We got pregnant while I was in law school. And my baby was born a month before graduation, a month and 1 day. before graduation from law school. He was about 3 months when I took the bar. And so I took the bar in July, found out I passed in November, but I still hadn't joined the military. Well, the military was going to send me to training the following year. And I remember speaking to a mom. Her and I had had a baby around the same time. And I don't know, maybe she'll listen to this and know that I'm talking about her. But her and I had a baby around the same time. And she was like, I cannot believe that you're going to join the military and leave your child for 6 months. And you all know mom guilt is real, right?
Yes, it is.
As mothers and as entrepreneurs, you have that added mom guilt because you chose an entrepreneur route, which can feel selfish in the inside. So I want y'all to know, like, choosing to be in the military after having a child, you feel this guilt of like, I'm about to leave my child at least once. Because then after that, what about deployments? What about training? What about additional training, rather? What about, promotions, You feel like, okay, I'm at least going to leave my child for 6 months. How dare I? But in the back of my mind, back here, where some of these beady beads are, I was thinking, I am going to bless my family by being in the military. Like, I really did feel that way in my heart of hearts. But when she said that, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I was discouraged. I just thought I was going down. Like, I don't know, what did I do? What did I do? By signing up for the military, did I just choose myself over my children? I'm giving this example because I feel like, even though it's not an entrepreneur example, I feel like in my soul that a lot of us go through that. Like, how can I choose to, like Shai did, go leave my high-paying with benefits job to become an entrepreneur? And what I want to say to that is, at the end of my story, me being a veteran strategically set me up for everything, every blessing I've had since.
Yes.
I am now medically retired. I retired from the military at the age of like 30. I don't know how old I was, like 30. I think I was like 30. I don't know. The point is, I think I was 31 maybe. And I am, for the rest of my life, going to receive a check from the government because I have this medical retirement. I'm not saying go into the military to become medically retired. I'm saying that wouldn't be my testimony, that I am being blessed in that way had I not made that initial sacrifice. Now my children's education will be paid for. Now my children have medical insurance, even if their dad wants to be beat up and leave me. You know, like, even if he chose that.
In case one day he wake up and choose violence and think he's gonna leave, you still covered.
Okay, even if he wasn't uppercut. I'm just saying. You know, we have to be mindful. Divorce is a prevalent thing.
Yeah.
So God forbid something happens to my marriage, my kids are still going to be taken care of. And that divinely made a pathway for me to say, I can be an entrepreneur. I can do this. Because I know that things are going to be, but that's not everybody's testimony. And you can still be an entrepreneur. I really want to encourage the mothers that are thinking about entrepreneurship or that are an entrepreneur, maybe they're just early on, to also think on what has strategically happened in my life that I could say that prepared me for this. I guarantee if you sit down and reflect, you will at least find 5 things, at least.
Yes.
And when I say at least, I mean at the very least. You can go back, I can go back to high school and think of things that set me up to become an attorney when I thought I was going to be a doctor, right? So it's like, if you just sit down and think about it, I just want to encourage somebody. Shai, you know, friend, that you have been uniquely designed to be my business partner. No, I'm just kidding. It's not about me, but I feel like she's my partner for life. And so, friend, what do you think about what I'm saying? Am I crazy?
No, No, absolutely. It's not even, and not only the things that, you've gone through that you didn't understand how God was going to connect the dots, because hindsight, is always 2020. You can look back like, oh Lord, that's what you were doing. But also understanding God's timing. Ebony's mentioned a lot, like Shy left this great paying job, et cetera, et cetera. Ebony was not the first person to say,
and she
partner
did
with me, right? It had been going on for years. And I was just like, oh, no, I'm not interested in that kind of lifestyle. That's too risky. I'm a single mom. No, I can't do it. And then so anyone who's heard Ebony's story and how, we met, know that I'm not typically a people person. Like I meet people like, oh, nice to meet you. But I met her in court one day and I went home and I called my mom and I was like, I met this other attorney today. And I think I like her. And my mom's like, you like someone?
The fact that it was a conversation piece just always makes my heart smile. Because she had a whole conversation with her. I think I like her.
But I think I like her. And so then, it was just God ordained. We had what other people would assume random conversation in passing. We fasted and prayed about partnering together. And when I tell you that, anyone who knows me knows I'm not a rash person. I'm not someone that's just like, oh, that sounds like a great idea that I've not really thought through and I'm just going to jump in and do it, right? So for me, when I confidently made the decision to partner and to go into entrepreneurship, I was absolutely convinced that that's what God was calling me to do. That doesn't mean it wasn't scary, right? I didn't know what that was going to look like. I didn't know, am I going to be able to pay my bills? Like, am I just going to run through my savings? And when I tell you through this time, it's had its ups and downs, but there's not ever been 1 month where a bill has gone unpaid or I've wondered how we're going to eat or what I'm going to do. We live in surplus, right? And that's because
during a pandemic.
Yes, even during the pandemic, we continue to earn. And so it's just a testimony to do what it is God is calling you to do. And I feel like when you are absolutely convinced that you're in his will, a lot of the fear will be eradicated. Almost like Abraham getting ready to offer Isaac, right? Because the Bible says that Abraham was so convinced that he figured if he did kill Isaac, that God was just going to bring him back to life, right? Like he believed God's promise that thoroughly. And so sometimes that's how you have to go into it. Like, Lord, I believe you're calling me to entrepreneurship. I have no idea what that's going to look like and how it's going to work, but I'm just going to take one step. And as you take that step, God will reveal the next step and so forth and so on. So don't be discouraged by the fact that you have some trepidation and hesitation. That's normal and natural. The point is not to let that stop you from taking that next step.
That's real good. That is, listen, y'all, we done had about 4-5 sermons in this particular podcast episode. Come on. Yes. Let me tell you how many words that will preach up in here. Come on now. Listen, this has been real good to me. I know it has been really good to the listener. We definitely are going to have to come back. And we'll have to do this on a live, a part 2 or something like that, because
we appreciate it, Dr. Monley. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I mean, that's what LaQuita's Toolbox is all about. It's my desire really is to bring on guests that give our listeners great tools to help them grow personally and professionally, because that personal growth piece is necessary in order for you to be who you need to be professionally successful. At least that's just my opinion. We've all had the unfortunate displeasure of working with somebody and you wonder how in the world, what deep dark secrets do you know? Because how are you here?
Right.
You know,
like witchcraft.
Yes. Like what the buffoonery came about to allow you in this space with me. Like, but we have all had that misfortune of someone who does not have personal growth. They don't even know what it is because somewhere in their mind, they think they have arrived, you know, or even I'll say this, some people who are just really gifted at what they do. You know, your skill set at what you do is wonderful, but your people skills, you know, we can't find them nowhere.
Right.
It doesn't always mean that you should be an entrepreneur just because you're talented.
Right.
Because there's way more skills required, as I learned very quickly
Yeah, entrepreneurship is basically service in the marketplace. If you don't want to serve people, entrepreneurship
is not for you.
And don't forget about the other part, like accounting and profits and losses and all this marketing and things that I pray one day not to have anything to do with.
Come on, we're gonna touch and agree together. Because let me tell you, I was having it early in my entrepreneurial journey. I needed an access program created because I had used an access program in my government position, and I knew that it would be great for what I was trying to do.
Okay.
But there was a tech guy who created that program, and now looking at me, I am the tech guy, so I'm on the phone with my husband. Can you do this? He was like, who do I look like?
Figure it out.
Yes, and that's what I told him. You figure it out. You are the fixer of all things that need to be fixed. Like,
I'll put you on payroll as a 1099 and I'll pay you $10.
Figure this out because your wife don't have it.
Right.
I need this done, right? It's so many different components. So
absolutely,
I know a lot of times in these entrepreneur streets, in these social media streets, sometimes I see it far too often where when you're looking at the marketing and the advertising going on, where the belittling of corporate career happens. And I don't like that because the skills that we learn in corporate America, they're amplified in our journey as entrepreneurs. Absolutely. You know, like I didn't go to school for marketing.
Right.
I didn't.
Right.
So in my job, I didn't learn about marketing, but I learned that it was necessary piece to have my business to work right. I would have never known that had I not had the jobs that I've had over the years before I became an entrepreneur. Even like what you were saying with profit and loss statements, had I not worked on the resource management flight when we were stationed in England, I would not have known what all of that looked like. Like I prayed through my accountancy course in college and the Lord answered every prayer. So
every single word.
Please get degrees, y'all. Yeah. And your girl went through that by the skin of her teeth. And so, but our experiences, every piece of our experience helps to make us a great entrepreneur. So I really love that you guys brought that out. Like everything that we do in life goes to make us a great entrepreneur. Yeah. Every experience that we have. So if you're in corporate America, you work in a 9 to 5, I don't care if you're sweet or no sweet, whatever you're doing right now pours into you that you can become the best entrepreneur that you desire to be. So don't let anything or anyone belittle that. It's just a tool in your tool belt.
Right.
Yes. And today go ahead, Fran.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say really quickly with that. I do agree, Dr. Mommy. I don't like when even traditional 9 to 5s are almost looked down upon and entrepreneurship glorified, because it's in those places that not only do we learn skills, but often that other people get to see what your work ethic is like. Work ethic translates across the board. If you can't commit and work well with character and integrity for someone else, you will not make a good entrepreneur. You certainly won't lead your business well. You don't automatically gain work ethic because you're working for yourself. It becomes a whole different beast. That's something that needs to be grown, because it's one thing to go to work and do a halfway job knowing you're still going to get a paycheck for the most part. It's a totally different beast when you only eat what you kill, right? So if you don't learn how to hunt in the workplace, you won't make it in entrepreneurship. What you're going to end up doing is taking what could possibly be a God-given vision and just completely demolishing it because you've not allowed him to develop that character and integrity in you. And that often comes while being up under submission to someone else. Everyone wants to be the boss. No one wants to be the employee, but it's in those places that I think you learn the things that make you a great leader.
Come on,
that is so good, friend. That is so good. And in our book, Capital Moms, a Firm Foundation for All Seasons of Mompreneurship, we are writing about not just these practical encouragements, or we're not just giving encouragement, like become an entrepreneur. I also want to make it clear that we want women to be empowered with the information that they need to get started. at least know a little bit more about what they don't know. Because that is, like Shai said earlier, we're not giving legal advice with this book or through our community, but at least now I probably need to speak to an estate planning attorney about who's going to have my kids in the event of my death. I probably need to talk to a business attorney about a waiver that is appropriate for my business. I probably need to speak with an intellectual property attorney about protecting the dance choreography that I just created. So it's intended to just make you, I didn't think about that, hopefully, and then have some sort of action that apply it to your life as a result of reading it. And I just wanted to say that because I feel like most of this episode has been encouragement, and I love that piece. That is our bread and butter. Shai and I will encourage some bark off of a tree. However, y'all judging me. Those lambs are kind of judging me. She is country and is. Okay. In addition to encouragement, we are actually attorneys, and we actually have a lot of information that have been bestowed upon us over the few years that we've been practicing together as business law attorneys. Both of us worked for the government separately, and then we came together and started to work together as business, church, and nonprofit law attorneys. And so that part of it, we really didn't get into today, but I want you to know that it is there in that book. Very strong.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Listen, guys, the link to purchase the book will definitely be in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
You don't want to miss this. This is a gem. I'm doing the series on the books that have been a blessing to me. And books that I know will be a blessing to the listener. And
Thank
Capital
you so
Mom
much, Dr. Mommy.
is definitely one of those books. I mean, I love the way I love everything about the book. The thing that made it most unique to me is actually the way that you guys put it together. Part 1 being the winter, part 2 spring, part 3 summer, part 4 autumn, and so on and so forth. And putting it in seasons was so appropriate. It was so appropriate because as entrepreneurs, we have seasons.
Absolutely.
We have seasons, and we in the middle of a
as
season
mothers,
now.
we have
Yes.
seasons. As human beings, we have seasons of life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And that was like, wow, this is really good. I mean, I took it like it's one of those things. There's another book that I enjoy that is a devotional for entrepreneurs, but I took your book, and it could be read year after year like a 365-day devotional.
Yeah, thank you.
For the purpose of entrepreneur. But above and beyond that, they're just nuggets for life, for personal growth and development, for spiritual growth and development that are just interwoven into the book. The biblical principles are undeniable and will set you up for success no matter what you're doing. I would even say someone who is looking to be more effective in their C-suite position, they could pull nuggets from this book to help build their teams, to help build and encourage their teams and the different departments they may be in or over.
Yes.
Right. Just giving them some insight. So yes, it is for entrepreneurs, but I think that this is for the successful woman in general. Like there are some great nuggets to pull out of there. So as definitely you guys want to make sure that you pick up this book. If you're like me, I can't wait to hear the audiobook when it comes out. But I have to have the physical book in my hand because it's just got to be tangible. I need to touch it and mark it up. Like I know I can do all that on my iPad.
It's not the same.
My Kindle.
It's not
the same. It's not the same.
I think avid readers all agree. If we did a poll, we would all agree. Like it's not the same, especially our generation. Like the paper copy. I love a good audiobook when I'm rushing and I just really want to know what happened. I did it for Michelle Obama's Becoming. I was like, I got to know what happened. And I did not have time to read at the time. But in general, and I still bought the book.
Yes, that was the thing. Like I have every audiobook I have the book.
Right.
Like, if my husband was to hear me say that, why are you wasting all of this money?
Right.
I am.
Right. I need this. I need this.
Necessary expense. Thank you so much, Dr. Monley, for pouring into us, allowing us to be on the show today, but also for the kind words about our book. You know, a book becomes your baby. You know that. And so, Dr. Monley, you are a single parent. We are co-parent. Okay, this is our baby. This book means everything in this season of our life. Like it's like another child of ours. We're like we've invested. I mean, we've spent more money on this book than having one of our kids. Like,
listen, look, we're gonna do a whole episode on that.
We gotta talk about publishing.
As I was going through that process of getting the book out and my husband was like, and we're gonna do what with this?
Right.
The Lord
I
said,
was like, it's much cheaper to just have a child. It's much cheaper.
Right. I paid a 10th.
Like, you know what? Because listen, but it is. I could not agree more. It's a lot
of work, but it's worth it. It is worth it, just like a baby is. It's worth all of the work, all of the money, all of the heart, the late nights and the sweat and the tears that have gone into it. And hopefully more individuals who are listening to this podcast will also go out and get Capital Moms. We want them also to join the community because it's dual purpose, right? It's not enough just to have the book. You should also join the community so that you can ask those questions that came up while you were reading. So you can say, you know, okay, yes, I went and talked to a lawyer about this, or I went and talked to my pastor about this, and let us know what's going on and how it's helped, or how you feel like, or what missing pieces there are. Because, fun fact, Shai and I are planning on having multiple books and breaking down each season into its own book, because we feel like there's so much more information that we could give. So we just ask for honest feedback. We are not asking you to gaslight us and, you know, go give us a 5-star review. No, we want to know the truth so we can make this better. And so that we can be the best version of ourselves and give the best version of this book possible.
Yeah. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. I can't wait to get into each one of the upcoming books. So you guys stay tuned. Keep me posted. Keep me posted for sure. Of course. But you know, we are at the end of our time. Time always runs so fast on the podcast with great guests. I'm like, I have to do better at managing my time because I want my guests to come back. And they were like, she talks so doggone much. She don't never go on the time.
Well,
it would have been my fault. It would have been. Thank you so much for having us, Dr. Monley. It's been great.
You guys are very welcome. Thank you guys for your yes and for everything that you're doing with Capital Moms, with your firm, and just how you are, you know, being a blessing to the community. Information that you are pouring out. If y'all don't know, as the listeners, you ain't never had to hire an attorney. Let me tell you something. You better get all of this that you can get. Okay. You better get all of this that you can get and know that. And we'll probably talk about that too, maybe on the next time, how to know to pick the right attorney.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that done cost me some money in the past. I got it wrong. Like real wrong. And I was like, wow.
We have our opinions, that's for sure. You know, it's just like doctors too, you know, and anything else. Everybody is not for everyone. Just like pastors. You don't go to a church and necessarily join the first day, because every pastor is not for everybody. And that's okay. And so the same thing goes. Shai and I are not for everybody. We would service anybody that pays.
Right.
But we know that I know that my personality is not for everybody. I know that I'm not for everybody with family law, and that's why I don't practice it. We're not for everybody. So we can definitely speak on that, but just to give them a tidbit now, there is truth and honesty in what you just said, Dr.
It was as my grandmother said, a bought lesson is the best lesson. It was a very expensive lesson. Non-refundable. It was a bought non-refundable lesson.
Like not finishing a degree. Listen.
Right.
Listen. It's like, my God.
You done paid for school and didn't get the degree.
You just got them hours out there.
Right.
God.
Oh, goodness. You guys are amazing again. Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you again on Sunday, Dr. Marley.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun with it. Listen, y'all.
Yes, we're going to have a great time.
We're going to have some fun on Sunday. If you are in the Central Texas area, make sure you get registered today.
Last day. Today's the last day. Secure the vision. Just look up those 3 words on Eventbrite. Secure the vision. It'll come right on up.
Yes, get registered, and we look forward to seeing your face in the place.
Yes.
On Sunday. We'll have a glorious time.
We are. We're going to have vision doctors. We're going to have a vision boards, but we're also going to have a workbook that I believe is going to set us apart. And we've been working diligently to make sure that there's power in that book. It's not just something to say that we did. Like, we want people to walk away feeling like they've been empowered. So we're going to put some power in that book. It's awesome. It's going to be great.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, listen, guys, thank you again for your yes. Thank you to all of the listeners for tuning in. If you are not subscribed to the podcast, please go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We would love to hear from you. Your comments are the meat and potatoes of the podcast. I want to know what you think about the work that we're doing. And if you have some suggestions and you're saying, LaQuita, I don't even like the podcast. I listened to a couple of times. I tried it, but you ain't giving me no tools. I need those comments because I need to know where I'm missing the mark so that I can make sure that we are providing the tools that you need to help you grow personally and professionally. And as well, thank my supporters that are supporting with their financial contributions. Without your financial contributions, the podcast would not be possible. My link to my Buy Me a Coffee for $5 a month, the price of a cup of coffee, you can continue to support LaQuita's Toolbox and all of the work that we're doing to continue to bring valuable content to listeners such as yourself and others around the world. Until next time, I'm your host, LaQuita Monley. You guys be blessed and have an amazing rest of your day. Take care.